Hello and welcome to Why Wait Till Sunday. This is a special live edition, and I am going to be releasing my top 10 three-star running backs on the 247 composite rankings. And this will also be, an episode that will release on YouTube tomorrow. This will also be in article format. Soon, and then in podcast form as well. So if you're here live, that is great, and I'm thrilled. If you're listening on a podcast, that's great. I'm thrilled. I will say, if you're listening to this, I'm trying to make it like kind of so if you're listening, you'll still get all the information that you need. But I have spliced together some clips of these players. So I encourage you to check out the YouTube channel if you're not watching this right now later, because you'll get to see these players in action. And I mean, pictures worth 1,000 words. So I have their actual highlights that we will do while I'm talking about these players. Let me go ahead and retweet this on my account so people can come find it while we're talking live here. It's not. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that, folks. Here we go. And yeah, so basically what I did was, players can be very, very volatile in terms of who's actually good, right? So last year, there were plenty of 3-stars that burst onto the scene, some of which are now tracking already onto kind of an NFL path. You have Deuce Vaughn, who was a 3-star, went to Kansas State. He had over 1,000 yards as a true freshman. You've also got Sean Tucker was a 3-star. He went to Syracuse and started for that team and is looking to be like the bell cow going into 2021. Frank Gore Jr. started for Southern Miss from day one and played pretty well. And then you have guys like Kamani Vidal over at Troy, who finished really strong, and Cam Porter for Northwestern, who basically finished the season last year getting over 20 touches per game. So he was very relevant in C2C. He was very relevant in DFS at the end of the season. And I think, he's probably going to be relevant for 2 or 3 more years on a college side roster. I can't guarantee he's going to be an NFL type guy, but these 3-stars can be tremendous values. I mean, most of those guys I just listed were probably first run waiver guys in any C2C league, even a deep one. So I think it's good to know these names, at least be ready to pounce if they pop, even have a good game. If you start hearing stuff in spring camp that they are getting touches, if you already know the name, you can pop and pounce a lot quicker. So without further ado, we are going to go 1 to 10. Unfortunately, I freaking made the video wrong. So you're going to get the spoiler number 1 guy first, and then we'll work our way to my top 10. And these are all 3-star on the composite. And some of them are 4-stars on like certain sites, but on the composite, they're all 3-stars. So very much kind of under the radar type incoming freshmen at their various schools. So there you go. You can see it. We got to share my screen, and we're going to share. You'll see right away, it's not going to be a surprise who my number 1 is. That right there is Devin Neal. And we'll just go for it. So he's going to Kansas. He is 5'11", 208 pounds. He only had 5 offers coming in. Some big-time schools were Oklahoma State, Iowa, and Nebraska. This won't really be a film breakdown. I'm just going to talk, and you can watch some of his clips as I'm talking. But so yeah, he's got great size. 5'11", 208 as an incoming freshman is just absolutely perfect. He only needs about 10 pounds to be feature back size in the NFL. A little more than that, and we're really talking. I think here's a really interesting recruiting story. He was this tremendous athlete. He plays baseball. He's going to play for Kansas on the diamond as well. So 2-sport star, but he only had 5 offers. But if you watch this tape, he looks so smooth. He looks explosive, and he's an incredible. How's my wife actually texting in? That's odd. Okay. He looks incredibly smooth and has a vast repertoire of cuts and things like that. And so Les Miles must have worked his magic to get this guy to come to campus. 247 does like him better than composite. They do have him as a 4-star running back, 12 overall. Composite, he's way down the list, but I think he's in my number 1 3-star running back, but I think he's going to make my top 5 or so, maybe top 7 overall. He just, the receiving is really what sets him apart from some other guys. He obviously has the running skills, but throughout these clips, you can see he's got a clip of a toe touch reception on the sideline. He's got a clip of mossing a guy in the end zone. He's got a slant near the goal line where he created separation on a quick slant and scored a touchdown. You can see there 99-yard speed to take it to the house. The competition in Kansas, is what people say, oh, well, we don't know the competition was good. But watching his film, I think this, his traits, his skill set translates no matter what. And then the depth chart at Kansas is, as you would expect, pretty weak. We have Puka Williams, who has gone to the NFL. He's been their lead rusher for the last 3 seasons. And then we basically just have 2 guys who were athletes that they turned into running backs, Daniel Hinshaw and Velton Gardner, neither of which really did a whole lot last year. I think Devin Neal is not only an amazing talent, but also a guy who's walking in to day 1 starter reps. He's not an early enrollee, but he should. I mean, he's just the best player on their team, I think, the moment he steps on campus. I think that the fact he plays both sports means he's very dedicated. I think it means that he's going to, put in the work. I think he's going to come ready to work, ready to play. I just love this kid. And, I don't hesitate to put him top 5 running back in the class to me, maybe top 7. But I mean, he's just incredible. He's got literally everything you could want on film, in my opinion. And, the only thing you could say against him is competition in high school might not have been excellent. And, he's going to Kansas. But to me, I think that's a plus. Like, guys can pop. Look at Breece Hall. I think this is actually a guy who could very much be like Breece Hall. He went to Iowa State. He was a lower rated guy, and he just blew up because the depth chart was nothing, and away we go. So that's number 2. I was filibustering there a little bit at the end. Trevion Cooley going to Louisville is my number 2. I know a lot of people like him as their number 1 kind of lower rated running back. But he's my number 2. And it's, again, the receiving that Neal showed puts him over the top. But Cooley is a real smooth runner. You can see here a lot of cuts, transitions to many different moves. He can string together a lot of jukes at the same time. In his senior year, he went 99 for 986 and 14 in only 8 games. That is a lot of work. Clearly a workhorse. Now, Cooley also is going to be an early enrollee. So he's already on campus. I actually tweeted out this week or today, practice report. He did everything in practice after a little bit of an injury. So he's in camp already. He's getting reps, and that is good because the depth chart is basically nothing. You've got Javian Hawkins, who went to the NFL. Jalen Mitchell and Hassan Hall are the incumbent guys, and neither one of them is anything too special. I kind of like Jalen Mitchell a little bit. But watch this play. This is actually his best, most incredible play. So it's a little screen pass. He jukes a guy. Watch this hit. Right? Boom! I mean, just absolutely levels that guy. But yeah, so I think he's got vision. He runs with forward momentum at all times, and he's going to have a chance to play very early at Louisville. The only thing that's negative is he only had 5 receptions in his last 2 years in high school, and that could be a function of his offense and the way they do things, but also that, it's just kind of an unknown. We don't know what his receiving capability really is. He took a couple swing passes, but other than that, really nothing going on. But as you can see, he's got speed to the corner. He's got speed to break big plays. I think I failed to mention his size, but he's the same size as Devin Neal, 5'11", 208. So this is another guy who can put on 10 to 15 pounds and just be that perfect 5'11", 220-ish pound feature back type guy. And I'll be honest, my comp for him just kind of just gut feeling when I watch him, looks a little bit Nick Chubb-ish. He'll wind up a similar size as Nick Chubb. And I just think that's the kind of runner he is. I mean, he's just super smooth at a pretty good size. I wouldn't call him necessarily sudden. He's just very graceful, even in a pretty big frame, and doesn't go down very easily and runs with a lot of power and toughness. So we can fast forward here. So Gabe Irvin is my number 3. He is going to Nebraska. He's from Buford High School in the state of Georgia, which is kind of a powerhouse. They've won multiple, I think they're 6A now, but they've won multiple 5A championships. And he's going to be number 22 on your screen here. He's going to also enroll early at Nebraska, where Wan'Dale Robinson is gone. They almost literally have no running back incumbent on the roster. I think their total guys left after someone graduated. Mills, I believe, graduated, and Rondale Robinson transferred. I think they have a total of like 30-something carries for 118 yards returning in their backfield. Marquise Stepp came over from Southern Cal, so he did transfer in. I think day one, it's Marquise Stepp and this guy, Gabe Irvin, for all the carries. He's an early enrollee, which is huge for playing time. When you watch him, it's evident pretty quickly to me that his first step is different. That's a thing I really look for in these high school tape. I mean, a lot of guys look really good. A lot of guys look like they are, beating up on the competition. But Ervin's first step, when he motions out of the backfield or even is getting ready to take a handoff, just looks lightning compared to most other guys I'm looking at. You can see there he did catch a pass. And he's played pretty good competition. I mean, Georgia has good prep football, and he's been playing in the highest classification that you can be in the state. They've won state championships while he's been there. I mean, I don't really know how he went overlooked. Maybe he didn't attend camps as much as some other guys or something like that, but really watching this tape, I mean, he just does not look like a 3-star running back. He shows power, vision, cutting ability, subtle cuts. I wouldn't say he's like tremendous juking. I mean, it's not like electric, but he's just sharp with all his movements. And he's tough. He breaks tackles. He's got good contact balance. And I really like what I see. There was a screen pass earlier kind of that he grabbed with his hands out in front of his body, showing me that he can actually do real catching. He's not just like taking these dump offs into his breadbasket. And you can see here, I mean, he just kind of sheds tackles along the way there, and does this consistently. And, the stats and the success in high school back it all up as well. Basically, I don't see how he's not the workhorse from day one at Nebraska. I don't think Marquise Stepp is very good. He's kind of sluggish and slow. And so I think Gabe Irvin, I'm drafting him in C2C leagues. Like, I'm not waiting for the waivers on this guy. I'm actually going to be drafting him. I think, if you don't even hear buzz in spring, I think by the time fall comes around, you're going to hear about this guy, getting the lion's share of the carries in that backfield, partly because they don't have anyone else, but also because I think he's actually just really good. I don't know how Georgia Tech, even Georgia State, let him get away. I think he could easily be playing on an SEC team, but for whatever reason decided he wanted to go into Nebraska. And I haven't seen him like drafted hardly anywhere. So he's definitely just a no-risk flyer that you can take almost any time. So this is number 4 for me, Deshaun Murale. He is actually a 4-star on 247's ranks, a 3-star in the composite. He is headed to UCLA, and he clocks in at 5'11", 190. He had 30 offers. I think that's what I failed to mention, actually. Gabe Irvin, the player previous, he actually had the most impressive offer list of anybody. He had UGA actually offered him. Texas offered him. Arkansas, some other SEC teams, and he had 30 offers as well. So that was Gabe Irvin, but now we're moving, to Deshaun Murale. He also had 30 offers, although the top end of his offers were not quite as impressive as Irvin, but he still had Penn State, Vanderbilt, Va Tech, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Georgia Tech, and Duke, to name a few of his 30 offers. This kid was All-State in Alabama this year. In this shortened COVID 10-game season, he had over 2,300 yards and 37 touchdowns for his high school team, which is really sensational. I think he would have been about a top 10 producer in all of high school in the entire country. And it's kind of crazy he left. I mean, I think Auburn's pretty set with Tank Bigsby, so maybe they weren't very attractive destination. And Alabama, of course, is Alabama, but I'm surprised he made it out of SEC country. I'm surprised he, at least didn't get a look from Auburn. Uh, but he looks really good to me. He's kind of a slasher. You're not going to see a ton of extremely intricate moves, but he does do one cut really well to me. He can make one cut. He can accelerate around a defender. That's usually how he gets his yardage. But he also shows some contact balance. He shows some power, although I wouldn't say that's a big part of his game. He's got a nice 5'11 frame that he can certainly put some weight on and get up over 200 to 205, maybe 210 by the end of it's all said and done. I didn't see a ton of work in the pass game on his film. Of course, that does not mean he cannot do it. It just means his high school team didn't seem to do it very much. They obviously gave him the ball a ton for him to rack up 2,300 yards on the ground. And so I think he's just got really good acceleration, burst, and cutting ability. That's what stands out to me, in addition to a supremely impressive high school season, especially in the COVID shortened 10 games. So he'll be headed to the Pac-12. Again, the depth chart at UCLA, they lose Demetric Filton. They have Jack Charbonnet coming in. They also have Britain Brown, who's coming back for a 6th year. Not really that worried about him. I think it's Charbonnet and Murrell to start. And I know Charbonnet still has some fans, but I don't know what it is with him, man. I haven't seen a lot of impressive things with him. He doesn't seem very bursty. I think he's kind of more of a grinder, whereas Murrell to me looks very bursty and just slasher. I mean, I just think he can hit one hole and really accelerate. I mean, right there, you saw it. He just kind of did one juke and accelerated around a guy. And you see that happening pretty often. This is a kickoff return now. I think he does pretty well here. And this might be the last clip from Murrell. Takes it to the house. I mean, that guy had an angle on him, and he was able to just straight up beat that angle on a pretty lousy attempt. We got another kickoff return. I think this is pretty nice to have a guy, who can return kickoffs in high school. Hopefully he can do it for UCLA right away. And if you're on the field, you can start making things happen. Wet the whistle. All right, we can move forward here. I actually don't have enough talking points for all these clips. His highlights are long. You can catch all that on the YouTube video. So for Wake Forest, we've got this guy, Will Towns, coming in. He is a 3-star. He's 5'11", 190. He had 14 offers, including BC, Pitt, and Vandy. The name of the game with this guy is just pure speed. I mean, he's obviously a little smaller than the other guys at 5'11", 190 that I listed before, but he is simply just electric with high speed. And top end speed, really can take the distance. I mean, you see him pretty often pulling away from defenders. You see right there a little bit of burst and tackling, breaking right there. And he just really, he's slowing up and no one can even come in on him. He's so fast. I mean, I think this guy is like a legit 4.4. Maybe even flirting with 4.3 because of just how much he pulls away from defenders. And I don't care who you are. I mean, if someone's running absolute flat out full to catch you and you still are pulling away, I mean, you're fast as anything. So, that's the kind of player he is. I do think, you could pigeonhole him. We'll see some really nice receptions and you could pigeonhole him as a little bit of a, third down back or whatever. But I think he shows enough as a pure runner to potentially be, here's one lined up in the slot, but I think he shows enough as a pure runner to potentially be a feature back. He's going to need to put on 20 pounds, get up to 210 or so, but he shows enough tackle breaking. He shows enough ability to kind of run through the middle. I think this one might be, he just runs through the hole and he's just gone. I mean, you're not going to catch him multiple times. He just really takes it all the way to the house. And I really like him. I like his potential to actually be a 3-down back, at least at the college level. Who knows what's going to happen at the NFL level and how he'll develop and all that sort of thing. I don't think he's as much of a lock as some of those other guys to really be a full-on 3-down back. But I think it's in the range of outcomes for Will Towns, granted if he puts on some weight. So then talking about his the running back room at Wake, Kenneth Walker transferred. Christian Beal-Smith kind of finished the season last year. He's kind of just a old, reliable grinder to me. I don't think Christian Beal-Smith is anything too special. And then you have Christian Turner, who is a transfer in, I believe, from Michigan. Look at that juke and the acceleration to get around the corner. He's going to take this all the way to the house. I mean, if he hits any angle on you, he's gone. He really does have that top end speed, which you like to see when really projecting some tremendous upside here. And he's got jukes and moves to maneuver around players. He's not only hit the hole and run fast. I mean, he does have some wiggle to his game, which I really like. And that's why I do think he can be kind of a full-on feature back if he gets to the requisite size that we'd be looking for at a Power 5 school. But can absolutely catch the ball. He can be used in all phases of the offense. I think we're going to see here him running a little out route, catching the ball, breaking a tackle. And yeah, of course, he's going to make the other guy miss. He does get caught though. But yeah, I mean, that was a catch, broke a tackle or two before he finally went down to the ground. And this is up the middle. He's kind of weaving, still breaking a tackle. I mean, he does not go down very easy for a guy that you might at first glance think is kind of a scat back, but he really doesn't run like one, which is fantastic when we're thinking about upside. Look at that juke. That was just an awesome jump cut right there. All right. Now we've got Taj BUTS. He's headed to Missouri. And I would say too, I guess I didn't really break this down, kind of rushing a little bit. I'm not excellent at the live thing. For me, these guys do have tiers. To recap, tier 1 is Devin Neal, Trevion Cooley. Tier 2 is Gabe Irvin, Murrell, and Towns finished out tier 2, which tier 1 I said is immediate college stud and NFL potential. Tier 2 I said is talented with an open depth chart and NFL potential. So not as much of a lock to go to the NFL, in my opinion, as tier 1. And then tier 3 is quality college back is probably what you can expect. So C2C, take notice here, but with early opportunity to do something more. And that's this tier 3. And that's where Taj BUTS comes in as the top running back in tier 3. I think he's going to be overall running back 6 on this list. And he's not as explosive as some of these other guys, but as you'll see, he is very quick and he has some really nice cuts that he puts on tape. He certainly has a couple that he does take to the house, but that guy's gaining on him there at the end of that run. I think he just doesn't quite have that super long speed, but you saw there a nice jump cut in the lane and the ability to get to the corner of the end zone there. And when you're watching him, really take notice of the jump cuts. That's what he seems to do. He has a lot of those, change of direction in short area, which is a really nice thing to see. One thing I kind of feel like he looked like to me is kind of a discount version of Kamaro Edwards, who's headed to UNC and pretty high on my board and other people's boards. But I see a similar running style with Taj BUTS, and it's really that just very kind of erratic jump cut type guy, where he's not necessarily, he's a bigger guy. Kamaro Edwards is doing it at 225. BUTS is only 205. The hope would be he can get to 225. But yeah, he's just kind of springy with his cuts. And then, his long speed just doesn't quite look, that real top end level. But I think he can be pretty productive. Certainly even look at that little jump cut there. That was just really nice. Headed to Missouri, where Larry Roundtree is now in the NFL. The incumbent Tyler Batty is a little bit of a versatile, shifty kind of third down back. I kind of think that's his ceiling. He's only 190 pounds, and he'll be a rising senior. So I don't think Batty is really going to be a feature back. I think if anything, BUTS walks right into the Roundtree role, and Batty might not really change the way that he's used. And I think BUTS can fill that role and maybe even be a little burstier than Roundtree. I mean, Roundtree was never a very electric runner. He just kind of was a very solid get what's blocked type guy from what I can tell. but I like Butts. I think if nothing else, you're probably looking at a similar production to what Roundtree just did in that offense, and I think there's some room for more. Like many running backs in high school, I don't have a ton. See, this is not great to get caught here, and it just means his probably absolute overall ceiling is capped if he can't kind of break that one off. But I still think he can get a lot of chunk yards with making 1-2 guys miss, certainly at the line of scrimmage, and then get a little bit of extra created yards on any given play. But I'm not sure he's just a tremendously explosive running back. And so, like I said, though, he's going to get opportunity right away. I think Missouri probably already has plans that he is going to be heavily used in the rotation with Batty. There's another guy, BJ something, who is going to Missouri as well. His film was okay, but I chose to talk about Butts because I just kind of liked his springiness a little bit more than the other guy. But they have 2 freshmen coming in that will likely get carries immediately for Missouri. And anytime you're talking about early opportunity on an SEC team, I think we need to be aware of it because we don't always know exactly what's going to happen. And you're looking for opportunity, especially at an SEC team. All right. Against my better judgment, Iverson Celestine is next on my list. And I got to say, I love this film. It's maybe my favorite film outside of Devin Neal, just purely watching the tape. The reason he's running back 7 on this list is because he's going to Tulane. He only had 6 offers. The other 2 big offers were Utah and Virginia. And that just tells me something. Now, my hope is look at this catch over the shoulder and then takes it to the house. He's pulling away. He is pulling away. This is a guy, I'm going to pause it. This is a guy who's 5'10", 198. So he's almost 200 pounds. Can easily put on 10 to 15 in college and finish at 5'10", 210, 5'10", 215 at the next level by the time he gets there. And he just caught a deep pass over the shoulder and gained, ground on the guy who was pursuing him after the catch. That's a big deal to me. That really is. I don't care what your competition is. That's a big deal to me in live game action. You'll also see tremendous power throughout these clips. I mean, just absolutely bowling people over. He seeks contact. He's a violent runner when he wants to be. Similar in the way that Chris Carson is, which could lead to injury, of course. But he's also going to split this entire defense. I don't know. I mean, he just looks like he does all the things you're asking for. And for some reason, he only had those 6 offers and he's going to Tulane. But it is a BCS team. It's G5, not Power 5. But they play in the American Athletic Conference, I think. Look at this. I think this is a truck. Oh, no, it's a juke and a little spin move. What way do you get to some of the trucks? I mean, it's just incredible. But I have to be realistic. I love the film, but I have to be realistic. He's going to Tulane and, he didn't have that many offers. So, I could be missing something. There could be some red flags, elsewhere about him. But I really, really like what this film shows. Tremendously tough runner. Watch this hit at the end here. So he's coming down and he's not going to go down without a fight. Watch this. Boom. And this is where I think we're going to start getting a bunch of truck sticks in a row, which is really fun to watch. But, it's not just the bruising. Like, he can pull away. He can catch legitimate passes with legitimate routes that he'll run in a couple other instances here. And does he break this one? No, he does get caught there. This is a total truck, I think. This one might be where the kid's helmet comes off. Yep. Decapitated him there. I mean, some of the most fun film, I will be honest, just feels like a total diamond in the rough here. Iverson Celestine, C2C only at this point. I don't see if they're, but look at those jukes. I mean, just awesome stuff from him. Multiple moves that he uses. I mean, he's not a one-trick pony. I mean, there's power, there's juking, there's wiggle, there's receiving. I think we're missing a couple good receptions. Look at this, and stiff arm to get to the end zone there. I mean, he just uses so many tools in his toolbox to gain yardage. This is another truck stick, if I remember correctly. I mean, that's just, I mean, it's like so fun to watch this guy's film. Every play is truly amazing. Here we got another truck here. I mean, just like that guy's calling his mom. I mean, geez. I want to definitely make sure and get to. I think there's at least one or two more really impressive receptions. I think the last play on the reel. Here's a reception here. This is a swing pass catching out in front of his body, and then taking it to the house, getting around the corner. And this will be a run play. They're all good, though. I love every one of his runs. Look at that stiff arm. That's Derrick Henry level stuff, man. We got another run here. And cutting inside. I mean, he does it all, guys. Ladies and gents, whoever's watching this, he does it all. I just fail to find something he doesn't seem to do well. We're going to get another pass here. He's going to turn it upfield. And they'll drop in the bucket over the shoulder, tip to himself, and caught. I love him. I love Iverson Celestine, man. I really, really do. I mean, he's definitely going to be my guy. Look at this little square route over the middle, catch it, break a tackle, carry a guy. But so we've seen multiple different routes. We've seen a wheel. We've seen a little square in. These are not just swing passes. Look at this shiftiness, grinding through the pile there and just continuing on to the big gain there. I'm going to make you watch every ounce of this film because it's just so rich. And we're breaking a tackle here. We're taking it outside. I mean, I love his cutting ability. This guy's a gem, man. I think he's going to go to Tulane. I was so enamored. I didn't even talk about the depth chart. Amari Jones is gone. Cam Carroll's there. Kind of a bruiser. He led the team in rushing, but I think Celestine's going to get on the field early. And I mean, if I find out he's starting or something, I mean, he's going to be a DFS play on day one because nobody will know who he is. But if you're watching this, you will know him. Remember that name. It's not easy to forget. Iverson Celestine going to Tulane. Bill Jackson. From Iverson Celestine, we go to old Bill Jackson, headed to Tulsa. He's 5'10", 195. He had 11 offers, Arizona State, Kansas, Nebraska, and Purdue. So a couple of pretty big teams in there. He just seems like a decent all-around back. Like, one of the things I really look for is that first step. And so when I pop on, especially when you're digging down deep into the 3 stars, and we're getting lower and lower into the 3 stars, I really look for that first step. Does he pop up to the line of scrimmage? Is he kind of exploding early? And that was a nice move right there. He just put on that safety, and now he's taking this thing to the house, gets a block, but really had enough speed to have that huge run right there. And he just generally seems pretty good. I mean, he blends a little of everything. He's got some power. He does have some long speed that he shows on these tapes. He has a little wiggle. He has good burst. That first step, when he's taking the handoff from the backfield, looks solid and strong. Obviously going to Tulsa, which at least this year they ran the ball quite a bit. Corey Taylor, their leading running back, is gone. That was a nice spin move you just saw. And then they've got incumbents there, Deneric Prince and TK Wilkerson, but I don't know much about these guys. They only both had like 70 carries on the season or something like that. So definitely not strong incumbent presence. I think the depth chart's probably pretty open. He's not an early enrollee like some of these other guys, but just check out a little of these moves here. He definitely weaves and maneuvers in traffic pretty well. Just generally seems like an overall quality running back. Again, when you do watch a lot of these high school tapes, some guys do just pop, and Bill Jackson did for me. I mean, it wasn't any one thing. It was kind of all of the above that looked pretty good to me. We got some technical difficulties. But yeah, I really liked what he put on tape. And then we're going to move forward here. I don't know. Hopefully that's not... let's pause for a second. So we've got Antoine Roberts. He's going to Wisconsin. And I know that a lot of people obviously are into Jalen Berger. Watching him Berger on tape, I wasn't terribly impressed. He may, mature, a game may slow down for him, but I just didn't see a ton of, wiggle. I didn't see a ton of explosiveness from Berger. He just seemed to kind of get what was blocked. But Antoine Roberts is a big kid, 6'2", 195. So he's got that long, lanky frame. At 6'2", he had 8 offers from Kentucky, Missouri, Vandy, Duke, and Louisville. And I don't know exactly what's going on with this. I apologize for the video. We have some technical difficulties. But he just looks like a slasher at this size. He's a big kid. I think, at 6'2", he can obviously put on, probably 20 to 25 pounds and get up to 6'2", 220 or more by the time he's ready to go to the NFL, should he, perform enough to get a look there. But he does show long speed. Not a ton of juking, but just look like a smooth cutter. You can't really see on this video here. I may have to just cut it short because some of the downloading may have messed up, which is unfortunate. I'm not going to give you a seizure. So we're just going to go back to my face for the rest of this video. All right. So Antoine Roberts, sorry about those technical difficulties, folks. That's the life of podcasting, I guess. But yeah, I like him. I mean, he's my number 9 on the 3-star list. So, that's not, terribly, promising, but I think he can go carve a role at Wisconsin pretty quickly. We know they like to run the ball. And if Berger isn't everything that people think he is, Roberts may get a shot fairly soon. And then I think at worst, he'll probably be the number 2 right away. And then you have Xavier Coleman. So he's my tier 4 on this list. He's number 10. He's I've labeled that tier wild card all-purpose back. So he's listed, he might be an all-purpose back or he's a running back, listed on 247. He's 5'10", 190, so a little bit smaller. He had 14 offers, pretty nice. Baylor, Pitt, Washington State were some big ones for him. And I just have written down breathtaking speed. He is an excellent receiver as well. Half his tape is lining up out wide, running legitimate routes. And I think he can be that hybrid type, all-purpose guy that Boston College has been trying to find with Travis Levy. And, they had that transfer Jalen Gill from Ohio State, who didn't really hardly do anything at all this past year. I kind of think this guy is like an Anais Smith, maybe, who was a 3-star athlete when he went to Texas A&M and obviously has really performed. He's so fast. I mean, he's like Will Towns level fast, breakaways, pulling away from guys 50, 60 yards down the field and still pulling away from guys. I will say he looks very lean, just watching the tape, and granted it's grainy high school stuff, but Xavier Coleman does look like his frame is kind of slight. He's the main guy on this list. I question how much weight he can really put on in college, but maybe he'll surprise us. But, if he, at this point, you're talking like if you're picking him up, you're hoping he's, very productive in college, but then like a satellite back in the NFL, I think he can add 10 pounds and get to 5'10", 200. And with his receiving chops, he has satellite NFL potential, I think, just looking at his tape. And I encourage everyone, especially these last 2 guys, go on Huddle, check out their tapes. But sorry for the technical difficulties on my film. But Xavier Coleman, very excited about him. I would have no problem pulling him in a C2C even. I would want to roster him. I think that Boston College has really nothing going on in the running back position. David Bailey transferred. Patrick Garwo is like a bruiser type. I mean, he's not anything special. And Travis Levy's like 190 pounds as a senior. And he's okay. I don't think he's too terribly impressive. So I think as Xavier Coleman walks in, at least there's a lot of punt returns and kick returns on his tape. So I think at least he's a return guy right away. And again, I like that because if you're on the field, you can impress the coaches and earn more work. So I really like Xavier Coleman. The tape looks amazing and the opportunity looks pretty good at Boston College, which of course is a Power 5 team in the ACC. And that just about does it, folks. That is my top 10 3-star running backs on the 247 composite, and we're just going to review these real quick. Number 1, Devin Neal. I think he has the highest upside of any running back I've seen. If he hits his 100th percentile, I think he's got as high as upside as anybody in this class other than Trevion Henderson. He just looks fantastic. We'll see how baseball may or may not interfere. Trevion Cooley is my number 2. I think he's really good. Comped him a little bit to a Nick Chubb style guy. Gabe Irvin is super sleeper. I mean, he's my 3rd. When I filtered all these guys down, I just wrote down 20 names that I liked their tape. Then I started, getting more meticulous. Then I narrowed it down to, okay, I like these 10 guys, and then shuffled from there. So, once I had them on my list of guys I like, I didn't care where they were on 247 anymore. I just made my own shuffling. So, he's buried on every list. You could get him 15 rounds into a C2C, probably 20 rounds into a C2C. I mean, I've talked about this guy to some people who I really respect in the C2C community, and they did not even know who I was talking about. So Gabe Irvin he's number 3 on my list, but let me tell you, you can get him anywhere in your draft. But I would think about that Nebraska depth chart, if nothing else. Anybody can go play for them, and Gabe Irvin, I think, is actually #good. Deshaun Murale is very interesting going to UCLA. He dominated pretty strong Alabama high school competition last year, and his tape looks pretty good. Will Towns, very, very fast. He's this high. So, Towns and Coleman, to me, when I was originally looking at them, they felt similar. The last guy we talked about, they felt like they were going to be third down back, satellite backs. Will Towns is a little bit bigger, kind of looks a little bit like he can fill out more. And then just watching his running style, I thought that he was just a little bit better as a runner. And so I put him higher because my hope is he could truly develop into a feature back. And then you've got Taj BUTS, Iverson, Celestine. He's just my crush. I mean, I love that guy. He's going to Tulane. I don't know what to expect, but I'm planting my flag and I will go down with that ship. He looks like he's got it all. Bill Jackson, Antoine Roberts headed to Wisconsin, and Xavier Coleman round out that top 10. Thank you for joining me for this special live session. We will have this up on YouTube. We will have it in a podcast, and we will be putting it out in text form in an article. So you can go back and reference this later, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.